What's up, y'all? It is Jamba, and guess what? I'm bigger. Yeah, I'm still kind of toying and tweaking, how I do YouTube and all that. So you might see some changes. Who knows? So what we have here is a video, another video reaction to Jenneerr. Jenneerr? I don't know how you say your YouTube name. He's never said it to my knowledge. I like reacting to this guy's videos. I like watching this guy's videos. I'm actually a fan of his stuff. Even though I don't always agree with a lot of his stuff. I'll be to be honest with you, but I like his perspective. I like his fresh viewpoint. I like his optimism. I like, he comes from a Christian perspective. He comes to be fair, he comes from like a white Christian perspective. Um, he seems like he wants to do the right thing, but I'm a realist. And I think that, and I haven't seen this video. So let's look at like the title, because you can't see the title. The title is called Young Men. I can't move my little my square. The title is called Young Men Are Turning Their back. Excuse me. Young men are turning their backs on society in record numbers. Woo. Why is this the case? This going to be a big problem in the near future? I'm pretty sure it will be. So let's see what this guy has to say. This video is 7 minutes long. I will try to make this not be um, a fucking epic long video. I don't think it should be.
They're not entering the workforce. They're not moving out of the parents.
Let's rewind.
So here's the truth. Young guys are not dating. They're not entering the workforce. They're not moving out of the parents' house. They're not really engaging in society as much. We're seeing like people aren't getting their licenses. Drunk driving's way down, which is a good thing. But it's just a general trend that like risk-taking, initiative, aggressive behavior from men is down.
I think he's going to get into why that's the case. I also think that, from my knowledge, testosterone among men is also down. People have talked this to men, a lot of stuff and studies about that. People think it's because of the water supply. There's other maybe environmental factors. Maybe they're spraying shit in the in the sky or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, all these things he's saying are true so far. But let's dig into the why.
And I think it's something that is like a net negative on society and just humanity, because men are supposed to be kind of the aggressor, the people that take action in society and all that stuff.
But we live in a society where often men are punished for being aggressive, then eventually that aggression will. And when I'm saying aggression, I'm not talking about like want to fight and shit. Just even like when among boys. I mean, he's probably gonna get into this, but we stomp a lot of like that aggressive, a lot of that positive kind of like energy out of boys at a very young age because of how we run schools and how schools are ran. And putting them on Adderall and stuff like that. Um, so this happens. This stuff happens to boys and men at a relatively young age.
It's not good to have men that are kind of, not going to college, not graduated, not working.
Not going to college is not always a bad thing, because look, I went to undergrad. Had some good experiences, a lot of bad experiences. I went to grad school for what it is that I do, and I won't get into all the specifics, but college is not the way for I don't think, for most men, unless you're trying to get like into STEM or something like that. Then I think it's fine. But even STEM and in coding and stuff like that, from what I've known, it's still tough. Like, those fields are still tough, and you got AI that's replacing a lot of shit. So yeah, I mean, a lot of men are trying to figure out, especially at an early age, in their early 20s, like, okay, what the hell should I do? you know, or should I do anything, or is it worth doing anything?
It's not healthy. It's not natural. It's not really how we.
I like how this guy said it's not natural, then put the most unnatural looking motherfucker on the internet. Maybe he did that as a maybe that's just him. That's just his sense of humor, but natural. Okay, all right.
We have gotten to where we are today in society. Society has kind of been built by go getters and men who take initiative. And
It was built by men who took initiative, and most of those men who took initiative also had families to go back to, and we are not forming families. So when you have a whole lot of men out here without families and without, someone to provide for, then you're missing a big chunk of incentive for those men to go out there and create society. It's pretty plain and simple. Starting families later and later. So, you know, who's this guy?
go at life instead of letting life come at them. And I was hanging out with my uncle and my cousins over Christmas. And one of my uncles was asking me, like, why do you think this is the case? Why do you think so many young men are turning their back on society? And I kind of thought about it. I talked about this in a couple of my
Because society, because it kind of doesn't. It's starting to be, and people, ladies specifically. This, I'm just telling you what men are saying. I talk to men. I ask them stuff. We talk, especially when we talk kind of amongst ourselves. A lot of men do not feel welcome in society. They don't feel welcome in spaces, and it may seem odd for that statement may seem odd because men built society and all that. But especially a lot of boys, they just, a lot of men are just, they are feeling disenfranchised and what have you. It's a complicated reason as to why, but that is the way they're feeling, and I would say that, you know be sympathetic, because you may not necessarily understand why they may feel that way because of, like the whole patriarchal theory and all this other stuff, but similar to how we should be able to understand the feelings of people who are feeling a type of way about themselves or whatever. I think we should extend that same sympathy and compassion for men. Mm. So you may not understand why, but that is how they are feeling, and they're feeling it for a reason.
previous videos, but delaying gratification only makes sense if you believe in the underlying fabrics of society. And young men, at least a lot of young men, kind of realize how BS our society really is and how the future is very grim, especially for us.
Mhm. Well, there, like in the 80s, I heard that, like, there was a point where some people thought that the world was going to end. I mean, I guess we're like at that point now, but I mean, are we ever at a point where there isn't something horrible happening in the world? There's always a part in time where something horrible is happening. I mean, I guess in the post kind of Oppenheimer, post the movie Oppenheimer, it's like, okay, the world could end, nuclear war, is imminent, whatever. Um, but there's always been, it's there was always stuff bad around in the world. There's always basically what I'm trying to say is that there's always a reason for you as a man or what have you, whoever you are, like not to have kids, or like because whether it's inflation or a plague and we're in the dark ages, or a fucking the famine, the Great Depression, or you know Vietnam or World War II or AIDS, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The crack era. Like there's always some shit. But again, the big difference now is the lack of family formation, because people in the Great Depression were still kind of having kids, even though they were eating turnips for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They were still having kids and having families. So that to me is why we're seeing this decline in male productivity. Um, because at least back then, at least the genders, all the genders, they liked each other more back then. So
Us, like young white guys, it doesn't make sense for us to work our butts off for a corporation. That
yeah, one thing I'll say, Jenneerr. I mean, look here. You know what? And I just changed my mind just like that. I was gonna say that you should make this channel just for men in general, and not talk about just focusing on white guys. But you know what? Fuck it. He's a white dude. If he wants to make a channel and make it mainly specifically for white men for the most part, then I think he should be well in his right to do that. And I'm well in my right as a YouTuber to comment on his videos and free fair use. So cool, good on you, Jenneerr. But I don't think that's a problem really whatsoever. Still gonna be a fan of your shit, even though. And look, he hasn't said nothing I disagree with just yet, which I'm you know not shocked, but we'll see. I bet you there's gonna be something that he says. Let's see.
That hates us and put our money in a 401k plan when we know that that money is going to be put into some, black lesbian fund or something in the future. It's going to be taken away from us. Um, and it doesn't really make sense for us to delay gratification in relationships because the curtain's been pulled back on a lot of relationship dynamics that are
Yeah, that's the whole black lesbian. I get the point that you're trying to make. Basically, is that why work and invest and put time into something where the society is not necessarily putting time back and investing time back into you specifically. Which I get, that makes sense. I mean, if he's talking from a male and race perspective, yeah, as a white male, there's not really college. People are not gonna go out of their way to help a person like him out, or really necessarily a person like me out. Like maybe like I might get that black scholarship, maybe if I hoop. You know what I'm saying? But with relationships, yeah, I mean we are seeing um relationship dynamics being dissected, being kind of picked apart and analyzed and deconstructed, and people are not liking what they're seeing.
I guess older counterparts haven't really seen. A lot of millennials, good lord, I just had a stroke, and boomers, they kind of just took the blue pill on like romance and stuff, and I guess like media and just a general way society was, they kind of believed that love was just something where you find the one, you settle down, you end up happy. And Gen Z guys have seen the aftermath, the brutal reality of what marriage in the West, and just I guess
Yeah, our parents in their generation, they got married, but they had just a lot of divorce as well. So, and I'm not going to go into like all the reasons for divorce and all this other stuff and who initiates, and again, you could look at any video on YouTube and have those things broken down for you. How much battery do I have? Oh, um, but they got further along than our generation did. I will say that. Like our parents were able to get married around 25, 30. When it comes to our generation, if we do marry, we marry later on, but a lot of people are not even, again, they're not even getting there. So if our parents were able to get to step 4, which would be marriage and family, but didn't get to step 5, which is making it last, we as a generation barely get to step 2, which would be relationships. And step 3 would be probably, I guess, engagement or like moving in or something like that. Like, and a lot of men aren't even getting to step 1, which is just being on a date with the girl or being in the vicinity with the woman, or and women aren't getting to step 2, which would be getting into a relationship with a guy they respect. So people were just as a unit, not just men but women as well, are just kind of, we're just not as far along as our parents and our parents was.
guess like romantic relationships without religion and tradition, what those kind of boil down to. Um, Most women are going to have this grandiose, just like vision of what their life should be. And when it inevitably does not turn out like that, they blame their husband, and they leave him or cheat on him with some guy at the firm they work at. And then they end up.
It's a pretty specific story. Does it happen? Yeah, probably. um and I also think, one thing our parents did not have was Instagram. Parents did not have Instagram. I think if our parents had Instagram, a lot of us wouldn't be alive. I don't think a lot of y'all, if your mama had IG and your daddy slid into your mama's IG and she had IG as IG is today, I don't know. Would she DM your daddy back then? Maybe, maybe not. But let me not go there. Um, yeah, let's keep this thing moving. I like this video so far.
Miserable and drink wine every night and have a couple cats and, you know, just do what they do. And we've seen how secular women can ruin a man's life so easily. We've seen money is fake for the most part. It can just be printed out and given to foreign countries, especially Israel and Ukraine lately.
Oh, he's going He's going little boy. Yeah, I'm just gonna just keep going.
But we've just kind of noticed that, at least American, I'm kind of talking to American white young guys. I don't know if that's really what my audience.
I yeah, see, I know you talking about them. I'm still gonna watch your shit. I'm still gonna watch it. Cause and here's what I try to tell black men. Men and I think the same about women. I look, we all got stuff, we're all human. We all got more things in common. We all of us got more things in common than we have different. I think just based on the fact that we're human and we breathe the same oxygen, we all bleed red. You know, our heart, we got a heart that beats. We got five fingers. I mean, excuse me, five fingers on each hand. We got, you know, we all have emotions. We all feel things. You know, we love our kids. We want to enjoy life. We want to do the things that makes us happy. You know, we try to go out there and work and make a good living. Like we most of us on the planet, you know, sure you might have different customs and things and values, but we're all, you know, we're all here, part of the same race. But when it comes to this whole race thing, I like a lot of black men are like think that black men and white men are like two different fucking species, and I'm like, nah, you probably got more in common with that white man than your girl. Nuh-uh. Yeah, you do. If you just get past, tell me if and the reason why I know this is because I played sports. And what you find out is when you play sports and you was like fuck the other team, when you got whether let's say if there was a particular teammate, and in my case, I remember this white boy, his name was Julian Benarouche. I don't know, you could look him up. He had a weird last name though. Like I hated the fucking guy when I played against him in high school. I played against him in high school. It was like my junior year of yeah, it was like my junior sophomore year of high school, and I hated this guy. He looked like Pee Wee Herman. I was like, fuck that guy. We used to call him Pee Wee Herman on the court. Then I transferred schools, and he transferred school. We went to the same school, and I love this dude. But sometimes when you're wearing a different jersey or the skin, you know, people are different. You're like, fuck that guy. But then if you put that same dude on the same team, he now becomes your brother. Anybody who played sports, anybody who I don't know, like if you've been, I don't know if you have been in the army or what, like it's just the way things kind of go with men. Um, so this doesn't really bother me. The whole if he's talking to white guys, totally fine. But I don't think this doesn't what he's saying doesn't also apply to men of other races as well.
YouTube even is, but that's me. So I'm talking to like the previous me. Um, yeah, guys don't really see the point of delaying gratification and sacrificing and putting all the work in just to be screwed over. It doesn't really make sense for us to do that. So we'd rather just chill out, do what we like to do, hang out with homies here and there, play video games, smoke weed.
What he's saying is all true, and I think that for me, like what prevented me from going down a path. I mean, like, sure, I do like to do the things I enjoy. And I, you know, so and I don't make just making money the priority. But I personally believe in purpose and not just necessarily passion. I think that it kind of goes a little bit hand in hand, but I believe in purpose and a man going after his purpose and being on his purpose. I think that to me is what drives me, and God gives me my purpose. I knew what it is I wanted to do since I was a since I was in elementary school. So and given that I've had some success in that so far, but I got a long way to go. It kind of gives me like something to kind of look forward to, and it gives me like a drive, and it gives me like like, and the people around me know, what my purpose is as well. So that's been a big part of my identity. And I think a lot of men unfortunately are missing that, and they replace that purpose with video games. They may replace that purpose with luxury. They may replace that purpose with chasing women, or what have you, unfortunately. So
maybe hook up with a girl here and there if she is down, but not really settling for like a relationship or like trying to build something with a woman, because a lot of guys kind of see this inevitable bad ending in the future. And yeah, that's it. I mean, we just don't really see the point of delaying gratification because we are doomers. We don't think the future is bright in America, especially not for us. If we're seen as the enemy, even though we built this country and the world that we live in for the most part.
we built this country. Um, why do I think that I think a lot of men are quote unquote doomers? And if you don't know what a doomer is, Google it. You're on YouTube. Google what a doomer is. I'm not going to go into it. But people who basically think that like the world, or it's kind of, I don't know, self-explanatory, but I think that men have that mindset of like doom and gloom. And because we have a lot of information now because of the internet, social media, far more information than we've ever had in human history. And most of that information is negative, is not optimistic. AI, let's be honest, AI should sound like a really really cool thing, and it is a really really cool thing. But when we usually hear about AI, it's usually associated with something bad. It's going to take away people's jobs. It's going to, it's a lot of people going to lose their jobs and things. It's the AI is going to take over. A robot attacked somebody at a factory, or blah 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 blah. Like, it can become self aware. Like, Mission Impossible came out. They did a thing about AI like taking over and shit like that. So I mean, it's not even just really that. I mean, we just have a whole lot of access to information and news and shit. And it's, I would argue, about 80% of it is negative. So, whereas you did not have that back in the 90s, 80s, and so on and so forth. You just got the news that you saw on TV, the newspaper, and then you've lived your fucking life. So, I love that Jackie Chan meme.
Um, and now we're demonized, and the way God is kind of dead in the West has created this just society that only values like um, a mix of like pleasure and status. And a lot of guys kind of
I would say more so status than, yeah, pleasure status. Yeah, yeah. I don't think God is quote unquote dead. I don't like that phrase. But I definitely think he's not being that. Yeah, in the eyes, like, people don't acknowledge God. It's not, it's just definitely not how it, from to my knowledge, used to be. So yeah, no, status is, especially online, in pleasure, and those are the two main things. This guy is on point in this video. He's kind of cooking. There's no seasoning in this, in the cooking, but he's cooking.
see through the bullshit. They don't really care to build status. So like just having some simple pleasure here and there is enough to keep us going. Obviously, I think that the cure, or like, I guess a call to action, because I didn't give that in the previous video I made. I got a lot of hate. People were like, "You're just pointing out the problems. You're not giving any solution." I'm not God. I'm not even that like smart. I'm just a guy. I promise you. I piss.
So one thing I like about this dude, he seems like a dude who I don't even drink beer, but that term, he seems like a guy I could drink a beer with. That's what this guy kind of seems like. Like, he seems like I would love to do an interview, or something, or a live stream. I think he got, yeah, I think he has a good head on his shoulders. Genie, or I don't know how to say your name.
I shit. I jerk off. I do all the stuff that
No, we didn't need to hear all that. We didn't need to know all that. Yes, I know my battery is low. We didn't need to know that you jerked off, sir.
normal guys do. But in my opinion, the only like realistic cure for this is to get young men back on a purpose driven life. And with the way
What did I say? Purpose. I haven't seen this video. I haven't seen it.
Technology and society and stuff has moved. I think the only realistic way to do this is to have some sort of spiritual revolution, some sort of major religion, preferably Christianity because I'm a Christian. But
It makes sense. Going the what we're sort of seeing, it if it's gonna be a religion that's gonna take over, it probably won't be Christianity. I'm not gonna go any further.
I don't know. I see a lot of young guys embracing like Islam and stuff like that. Um, some sort of meaning because career, gym, stuff like that, it's not going to fill the void of like, okay, why the fuck am I actually here? Like, what am I doing on this planet? Is there a meaning to all this? Um, until you kind of hit the core of that problem and give guys a little bit of faith and
Yeah, but that all he's right. He's right. He's right. But these are all things that a man has to figure out on his own, and has to be willing to seek that out for himself and want better for himself and be able to achieve it. Because the fact of the matter is that we're living in this digital age. Damn, I gotta charge my shit. And whatever it is that you wanna be, I don't want to say that you could be anything you want to be, but almost, almost, almost. Um, Besides like fucking sports or some shit. I mean, the information that we have on YouTube just to learn real estate, to learn different skills and shit like that. You can learn it. You don't have to go to school to learn it. There's not a big financial barrier to information anymore like we've had previous. You know, you don't it so there's that. Trying to think of how to kind of formulate this like in real time. But you have to kind of find, as a man, you have to find that thing to keep you going and to make your life mean something, because you are here for I believe, you're here for a reason, or if you don't know what that reason is, you got to find it. um and some days are going to suck, but the reason why, like, I feel that I really, one of the reasons why I feel the need to really try to seek out what I got to do in my life purpose wise is because, especially as a black man, and this is where he necessarily probably wouldn't relate. Um, there's been thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people before me, lineage wise or whatever. I'm not gonna, I didn't do a what is it called, 33 and Me, one of them DNA test thingies where you get to trace your lineage. But my great grandfather didn't have the opportunities that I had. Neither did his father. Neither did his father. Um, to they just didn't. And for me, my career, what I would like to do, what I am doing, on and off, is an amazing, is it being able to do that is amazing. Where, even 100 years ago, even 50 years ago, it would have been close to impossible for a person like me to do what it is that I do. My sister and her career. So I look at it like I feel myself. I'll just speak for myself. I feel incredibly privileged to be in this time period, even though things really suck in a lot of different ways that I won't get into. But at the same time, though, I have to be able to look at, okay, what are the opportunities here? So I think that men need to kind of suck it up in a sense and look at the opportunities that they have that their grandfathers and great grandfathers did not have. You have the internet, you have a supercomputer in the palm of your hand, which is kind of like Pandora's box in a way, but you can, it's not even just by using your phone, but just you just got to be able, as a man, to you got to be able to figure this out, because no one gives a fuck about you if you are not producing. You will be, you just no one, your mama loves you and cares, but even she barely cares a lot of the time. Same with your dad, same with your friend. You just got to produce. You got to, not just for other people but for yourself. Let's wrap this video up. We got about a minute and about 20 seconds, and I got 7% of battery left.
building a future, incentive to delay gratification, whether or not that's building towards a brighter future in this life or the next life. Until guys can kind of buy into that, they're not going to change. They're not going to enter back into a society that hates them, that is quickly, corroding. Is that the right word? God, I always forget words when I make these freaking videos. The
Same. And I don't think that society necessarily, because look, if he's going to talk from the white boy's perspective, society doesn't hate white men because white men are still the standard of what a man is supposed to be in America. A guy like him, people don't hate. Look, people can say they can talk shit about white men. Look, I've heard women, specifically liberal women, talk a lot of shit about white men, and then what you doing? What you doing tonight? Hanging out with that white man? Wait, what? You just talking shit about that white man? Yeah, but I love him though. So I wouldn't go that far as to say that the society hates you. You know, I think society is just a little bit critical of white men, but they don't hate y'all. Trust. There's too many whites fucking superheroes in Marvel for you to be like they hate the white man. That don't make no damn sense.
the society's collapsing slowly, and nobody really wants to acknowledge it or believe it. A lot of young guys can see that, and it's like, all right, do I want to, you know, put in thousands of hours working to be a public accountant when A, that's probably going to be automated, B, for on the brink of World War III. Uh,
I gotta pause this and charge my laptop. And we're charged. Okay. Yeah, we got about 50 more seconds left, man. Hey, it's a good video. I like this video. I like this guy's stuff.
Three, I don't want to do accounting. It sucks and it's boring as hell. Um, yeah, I can't cover everything. I did my best. Like this video, drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel, maybe share this video with somebody if you think it's decent. I think that helps with the YouTube algorithm. You can buy
You know what I'm gonna do, man? I'm gonna like where's the like button? I'm gonna like this video, and I already subscribed, man. So I'm doing my part. Um, yeah. I think that's kind of a wrap on that. Not his best work, but I didn't have any disagreements on it, man. I think he was absolutely correct on all the points, yeah, for the most part. Yeah, there needs something kind of needs to happen. Um, I think this is a problem that's certainly just going to get worse over time. You know, I've heard the army is kind of lacking in the what's gonna call it, the enlisting and all that. You know, because men are like, fuck it, why, you know. So yeah, man. Society has to invest in the and not just, yes, society does need to invest in women and, you know, in people of color. I think that's totally fine as a person of color. Um, but they also do need to invest in men. And look, and it's gonna sound weird coming from somebody like me, but they gotta invest in white dudes too. If they're not feeling like they're being invested in, and you know, but I will say, I mean, look, he is coming. God like this is coming from a place of privilege. I still believe that there is a white privilege and all that. But I'll tell you like a quick little anecdote or what have you, right? Um, and I won't pull up the clip, but the army recently, because at one point the army was marketing towards people of color, and it was putting, you know, black women and Asian people and Hispanic people and all the blah 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 in their ads, which is fine. But then, you know, that once things are kind of ramping up with, you know, with the conflict, you know, in different parts of the world, and you find out that, you know, that enlisting has gone very much down. Then they started to market and have white guys in the music, in the what's that music, the army ads and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, you know, and the army was heavily criticized for that switch in promotion. It's kind of like they're trying to get the white boys back. It's like, so yeah, this is a pretty, I don't know, man. This is some strange stuff, especially because we're talking about, like, race, gender, some politics and all that, religion. This is something that is kind of crossing a lot of different sort of intersect. This is very intersectional. So yeah, so I'm definitely gonna react to more of his stuff if I find a title interesting. And yeah, man, look, subscribe to his channel, like his video, like mine, subscribe to mine. This I don't think this was my best reaction, but I think it's because I enjoyed it so much. But look, I will see you next time, and we are out of here.